Welcome to Martha's Stories.
Support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I promise even more interesting stories. I knew no one was waiting for me. I just didn't want to believe it. You can tell, when you've been erased. It's not loud. It's not cruel. It's quiet. Like how no one asks what you want for dinner. Or if you're cold. Or how your eyes feel a little more tired in the morning. It's in the quiet. The looking past you kind of silence. The night before I peeled the potatoes. They're kind, the little gold ones. I trimmed the ends just how my daughter likes them. Tossed them with rosemary and sea salt. Covered the dish with foil. Wrote a note. Reheat at 375. Don't forget the butter. I set the table. The good plates. The ones we used when her father was still alive. She said they were too formal, but still used them when people came over. I folded the napkins. Ironed her linen runner. Put the centerpiece together. Bought candles. And then I waited. She told me, "Mom, you don't have to do all this. Just be here." So I stayed upstairs. In my robe. Hair brushed. Teeth cleaned. Just in case she needed something. I didn't come down when I heard them arrive. Thought, give them space. Don't hover. I sat on the edge of the bed. Watched the hallway light dance under the door. Heard the front door open. Laughing. Footsteps. Then a door shut. Then music. Then nothing. No knock. No mom. No are you hungry? Just the house. And the fan spinning above my head. I dozed off for a while. Woke up to the sound of clinking glasses. They were having wine. Her laugh floated up through the vent in the ceiling. I waited. Even brushed my teeth again. I don't know why. Hope does strange things. And when I opened the door, the hallway was dark. No one was upstairs. No one was waiting. I walked down slowly, my socks making little hush sounds on the stairs. The dining room was lit. Candles flickered. Plates scraped. They were already eating. My dish of potatoes was untouched. Set aside on the counter. The foil half peeled. Like someone thought about it. Then changed their mind. No one looked up. I stood there for a moment. I thought maybe someone would say, "Oh, Mom, I didn't see you. Come sit with us. Let me get you a plate." But instead, her husband laughed. She leaned into him. And someone, I don't know who, blew out one of the candles. I turned. Went back up the stairs. The hallway was colder now. I wrapped the robe tighter. And I sat. Not because I was tired, but because I was disappearing. And no one noticed. In the morning I came down early. Earlier than anyone. Out of habit, really. Mothers don't sleep in. Not even when they become grandmothers. Not even when no one's asking. The kitchen was quiet. Clean. Too clean. Like nothing ever happened here. Like dinner never happened. Like I was never invited. The dish of potatoes was gone. Thrown out, I guess. No leftovers. No foil. No note. The coffee pot was full but cold. I reheated it on the stove. The old way. The way she used to like it. She came down while I was stirring. Hair up. Phone in hand. One sock on. "Oh, good morning, Mom," she said like I just appeared out of nowhere. I smiled. Said nothing. She didn't ask if I slept well. Didn't ask if I'd eaten. Didn't mention the potatoes. I poured 2 cups. Set one on the table for her. She didn't sit. She just scrolled. "I think we're gonna go to the park later. Take a few pictures." I nodded. I wanted to ask, should I come? But the silence after her sentence already answered me. I looked around. No signs of last night. No candle stubs. No wine glasses. Just silence and phone taps. I opened my mouth. Closed it again. She looked up. "Are you okay, Mom? You look tired." Tired. That word again. Not old. Not invisible. Just tired. It's the word people use when they don't want to say, "We don't need you." I said I was fine. Smiled again. That weak kind of smile that keeps people from asking more questions. She walked out with her cup. Left the other one untouched. I cleaned up the counter. Wiped down the stove. Refolded the towel by the sink. Not because it was dirty. Just because I needed something to do. Some reason to stand there. Her daughter came in. 4 years old. Still in pajamas. She looked at me like she remembered something good, ran to me, hugged my legs. I knelt down, held her tight, brushed her curls behind her ear. "Granny, are you coming to the park?" Before I could answer, my daughter called from the hallway. "Sweetie, don't bother Grandma, she's tired." There it was again. That word, used like a broom, to sweep me back into the corner. The little girl looked at me confused, like she didn't think I looked tired, like she still wanted me. But I just smiled. Again. Always the smile. She ran off. I sat at the kitchen table, watched the sun climb the edge of the window, warmed the rim of my cold coffee cup. I stayed quiet. I stayed still. I stayed where they could forget me. And the hardest part? They did. I left early, before anyone else was up. Or maybe they were. And just didn't say anything. I needed air. The kind that doesn't belong to anyone. The kind that doesn't ask questions. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Folded. Neat. Walking around the block, be back soon. As if anyone would read it. As if it mattered. The street was empty. Except for one woman walking her dog. She smiled at me. I smiled back. And for a second, I almost believed I was still someone. I walked slower than usual. Not because I was tired. Because I wanted to stretch the silence. Make it last longer than their conversation downstairs. I passed the bakery at the corner. The one she used to love when she was little. The one with the lemon tarts and big cinnamon rolls. I bought a blueberry muffin. And a coffee I didn't really want. Just to hold something warm. Just to not walk back empty-handed. I stood outside for a while. Pretending to wait for something. For someone. Like a woman in an old movie. Who still believes someone might show up. Then I finally walked back. The house looked the same. Same shutters. Same red flowers in the little pots. Same door. I reached into my coat pocket. Took out the house key. Slipped it into the lock. Turned. Nothing. I tried again. Pushed a little harder. Still nothing. I pulled the key out. Looked at it. Same silver edge. Same shape. But it didn't fit anymore. I tried again. My hand trembled. Not from age. From something worse. I knocked. Waited. Then I knocked again. She opened the door. Still in pajamas. Holding a phone in one hand and a toothbrush in the other. She blinked at me like she didn't expect to see me there. Like I wasn't supposed to come back. "Oh right," she said. "We had the locks changed yesterday. The old one kept sticking." I looked at her. "No one told me." She shrugged. "Didn't even say sorry. We figured you wouldn't go out much." She stepped aside. Didn't ask if I was cold. Didn't ask why I left. I walked past her. The note I left was still on the table. Untouched. Not even moved. The kitchen smelled like toasted bread. Someone had eaten already. Not me. I placed the muffin on the counter. Next to my untouched coffee from yesterday. Still sitting there. Like I'd never moved. Like I was part of the furniture. She walked back upstairs. I heard her door click shut. I stood there. Staring at the key in my hand. It felt heavier now. Like something that used to mean belonging. And now just meant memory. They didn't throw me out. No. They did worse. They kept the door open. Just enough for me to walk through. Just enough to pretend I still lived there. But quietly, piece by piece, they were locking me out of everything. Without saying a single word. That afternoon I went upstairs. Quietly. I didn't want to interrupt anything. Even though nothing had been offered to me. The door to the guest room creaked. Same way it always had. Same bed. Same faded quilt. Same little lamp with the blue shade I brought from home. Just to make it feel like mine. But something was different. The suitcase I kept half unpacked in the closet was zipped, closed, sitting at the foot of the bed. Like it had something to say. I opened the closet. It was empty. The hangers were gone. The blouses, the robe I always wore. Even the slippers tucked at the bottom. All gone. Not moved. Not relocated. Gone. First I thought I was wrong. Maybe I had folded things earlier. Maybe I forgot. So I opened the dresser. Second drawer. Empty. Third drawer empty. Just the top drawer had anything in it. A note. Folded in half. My name on the outside. "Mom, we packed your things so they wouldn't get wrinkled. Thought it might be easier for you that way. You've been here a while and the kids need the space again. Hope you understand. Love you. They packed my things. Without asking. Without telling. I sat on the edge of the bed. Ran my hand across the zipper of the suitcase. It felt like a line in the sand. You're here. But don't get comfortable. You're family. But temporary. I didn't cry. There's a moment beyond crying. It's quiet. Heavy. Like you're watching yourself from across the room. I unzipped the bag. Everything folded too tight. Not how I would have done it. Not with care. Just enough to get it out of sight. My sweater was creased. The one she gave me 3 Christmases ago. With a little stitched heart near the hem. I held it. Pressed it to my face. Still smelled like home. Not this home. Mine. And for the first time in years, I wanted to go back. Not because I missed my space, but because I missed being a person in it. I heard voices downstairs. Kids laughing. Her voice. His. No one called for me. No one asked where I was. Or if I needed help packing. I folded the note. Placed it back in the drawer. Not out of respect. Just to leave something behind. A whisper. Proof that I was once here. Even if no one remembered it. And as I sat there, hands in my lap, feet not quite touching the ground, I realized they didn't ask me to leave. They just made it easier if I did. The evening felt different. Not colder. Not louder. Just distant. I stayed upstairs again. Not because I was tired. Because I understood now. My presence needed to shrink. They were having people over. Old friends, I assumed. The kind who knew her before she had kids. Before she became someone's mom. Before she became someone else's daughter again. I wasn't invited. Not directly. Earlier that day she said, "We're having a little get-together tonight. You can relax upstairs if you'd like. I'll bring you a plate." That wasn't an invitation. That was a redirect. So I stayed quiet. Didn't ask what she was making. Didn't offer to help. Didn't ask what time they'd arrive. The house filled with voices around 7. Soft music. Clinking ice. The smell of rosemary again. I sat on the edge of the bed. Wore the sweater she gave me. The one with the heart by the hem. It didn't feel like a gift anymore. At some point, I got up. Not sure why. Maybe out of instinct. Maybe I wanted to hear laughter. Or maybe I wanted to feel something sharp. To confirm what I already knew. I opened the bedroom door just a crack. Just enough to let the hallway air in. Just enough to let the sound rise. And then I heard it. She's been here a while. My daughter's voice. Smooth. Light. Like she was talking about an old guest towel. One that hadn't been washed in a bit. A pause. Someone murmured something I couldn't catch. "She's not herself anymore," she continued. "She forgets things. Gets overwhelmed easily. I think she's lonely. And honestly, it's been hard on the kids." Hard on the kids. I sat down on the floor. Right there. In the hallway. Hard on the kids. She said it like I was a storm. A sickness. Something they had to recover from. There was more. I don't remember all of it. My ears stopped choosing details. My heart did that thing where it gets too loud to hear over. But one sentence stayed. "I just want to feel like it's my house again." My house. Her house. Not ours. I pressed my back against the wall. Stared at the ceiling. Counted each wooden panel above. There were 23. I'd counted them before. When I first arrived. When I thought I'd be here for a little. Help with the kids. Cook. Fold towels. Give her a break. I didn't know I was overstaying a welcome. No one had spoken out loud. I sat there for a long time. Long after the voices drifted back to the kitchen. Long after someone laughed hard enough to cough. I didn't go back into the bedroom. I didn't cry. I just stood up. Walked to the stairs. Looked down at the light from the living room. And realized it didn't reach this far anymore. That night I didn't sleep. Not really. I laid on top of the bed. The suitcase still at my feet. Closed. But now it felt like it was breathing. Like it was waiting. I stared at the ceiling again. Counted the panels. 23. Again. Around 2 a.m. I got up. Not out of impulse. Out of something older. Something inside me that finally said, enough. I turned on the closet light. Even though there was nothing left to take from it. I opened the dresser. The one drawer they hadn't emptied. I folded the note she wrote me. Slid it into the side pocket of the suitcase. Not because I wanted to keep it, but because I didn't want to leave it behind. Then I started with the sweater. The one with the little heart. Folded it slow. Not to protect it. Just to feel like I still had control over something. I packed my slippers. My glasses case. The book I hadn't touched in 3 weeks. And then I sat. For a long time. The suitcase open in front of me. The robe still draped across the chair. I stared at it. Stared back. Then I heard movement downstairs. Soft footsteps. The refrigerator door. A spoon and a cup. She was up. I didn't go down. I didn't want another smile. Another "are you okay?" Another empty offer to make me tea she knew I wouldn't drink. So I waited. Until the light outside began to bloom. Soft yellow across the blinds. The kind of light that used to mean morning pancakes. Now it just meant time passing. At 7:30 I zipped the bag. That sound. Final. Like closing a book I didn't get to finish. I walked downstairs. One step at a time. The suitcase thudding softly behind me. She was already dressed. Coffee in hand. Phone on the counter. She looked up. Surprised. Almost confused. Are you going somewhere? Her voice had too much air in it. Like she already knew. And hoped I'd say no. I didn't answer. I just reached for my coat. Buttoned it slowly. Like I was still allowed to take my time. You didn't say anything, she said. I looked at her. Not angry. Not sad. Just level. Neither did you. She blinked. Opened her mouth. Closed it. I picked up the suitcase. Rolled it to the door. The dog barked from the other room. Someone upstairs flushed the toilet. The world kept going. I opened the door. Cold air kissed my face. I turned back just once. She was still standing there. Not crying. Not stopping me. Just standing. I smiled. Small. The kind you give strangers when you let them pass first in line. And then I walked out. Not fast. Not slow. But fully, completely. Out. I thought my phone would buzz. Even once. A message. A missed call. Oh, where are you? But nothing. Just the sound of wheels on pavement. As I walked down the street, pulling my suitcase behind me, the sun was already up. Birds awake. Trash bins waiting for collection. The world didn't stop. Not for me. Not for anyone. I walked to the corner. Not sure where I was going. Just that I couldn't stay. There was a diner across the street. One of those small ones. With chipped red booths. And coffee that smells stronger than it tastes. I sat near the window. Ordered toast and tea. I didn't want either. But I needed to do something. Besides just exist. The waitress was kind. She didn't ask questions. She just refilled my cup twice. Without me saying a word. At 9:17 a.m. I turned my phone face up. Nothing. Not even a read receipt. From the last message I sent her 2 days ago. Do you want me to start dinner before you get home? I scrolled through old photos. The kids in the backyard. My daughter's birthday last year. A blurry shot of the kitchen at dusk. It didn't hurt. Not yet. It just felt quiet. Not peaceful. Not heavy. Just gone. Around 10 I called a cab. Told the driver the name of a motel I remembered from years back. Still clean. Still small. Still anonymous. He didn't ask questions either. I liked that. I checked in with a name. My own. No mom. No granny. Just the one I was born with. The woman at the desk asked. One night. I nodded. Maybe two. She gave me the key. Not a card. A real key, metal, cold, slightly bent. I liked that too. The room was plain. Bed. Lamp. Window unit humming like a lullaby. I didn't unpack. I just sat on the edge of the bed. My phone lit up. But it wasn't her. Just a spam email. Are you still there? That was the subject line. Fitting. I turned the phone off. Not out of spite. Just to rest. Because in that moment, no one needed me. No one was looking. And for the first time in a long time, I was alone. But not lonely. There's a difference. Lonely is waiting to be invited. Alone is choosing not to knock. I pulled the covers back, slipped off my shoes, lay down in the middle of the bed. No one called. No one asked where I was. And for the first time, I didn't want them to. The next morning, I walked. Not fast. Not to get anywhere. Just to move. The sun was soft. The kind that doesn't ask questions. Just warms your skin and lets you keep going. I passed a florist, a closed bookstore, 2 people arguing outside a dry cleaner, and then I saw it. A little pie shop, tucked between a laundromat and a tax place. Old wood sign, white letters, Maggie's. Felt familiar, even though I'd never been there. I walked in. A bell rang. The inside was warm, smelled like cinnamon, and something that felt like October. There were only 4 tables, 2 already taken. Behind the counter stood a woman, gray hair in a low bun, flower on her sleeve, smiling like I'd just come home. What'll it be today, sweetheart? Sweetheart. That word reached something that hadn't been touched in months. I looked at the menu, didn't recognize half the names. Didn't matter. Do you have apple? She nodded. Still warm. Want it a la mode? Just the pie, I said. And a tea if you've got some. She nodded again. I chose the table by the window, slid into the booth. The sun hit the corner of the table, lit the silver fork just right, made the dust in the air look golden. I took a deep breath. I didn't check my phone, didn't even take it out. I just waited. She brought the plate over herself, placed it gently. Take your time, she said. And then she walked away. The pie was perfect. Soft crust. Not too sweet. Warm. I ate slowly. For once. Not watching the clock. Not multitasking. Not waiting for someone to say they needed me. Halfway through I laughed. Out loud. Because I remembered. I used to bake pies. Every Thursday. Apple or cherry. Depending on who was visiting. And now, here I was. Buying one for myself. No occasion. No guests. Just me. And it felt good. Not strong. Not brave. Just good. I finished the last bite. Let the fork rest on the plate. And then I sat. Watched the people pass outside. A woman in scrubs. A teenager on a scooter. A man in a suit arguing with his coffee lid. No one knew who I was. No one expected anything from me. And for the first time in a long time, that felt like peace. I paid in cash. Left a tip. More than usual. She smiled when I handed her the bill. Come back whenever you want. I nodded. I might. I walked out slowly. The air cooler now. The sun had shifted. But the warmth stayed. As I reached the corner, I looked back once. The little shop. Still there. Still open. Still mine. For that one moment. I stayed another night. Same motel. Same stiff sheets. Same hum from the air conditioner. That made the silence sound less lonely. I bought myself a sandwich from a place next door. A bottle of water. Some fruit I didn't finish. No one asked where I was. No one asked if I was okay. I turned my phone back on around noon. Still nothing. No missed calls. No new messages. No, are you all right? I stared at the screen. Let it sit in my hand. As if holding it long enough might make it ring. But it didn't. The number of days I had spent in that house outnumbered the words I had heard. They didn't hate me. No. Hate is too much effort. I had simply become invisible. Not a monster. Not a martyr. Just someone who once mattered. I sat by the motel window. Watched cars pass. A man walk his dog. 2 kids on bikes. They didn't look up. Didn't know me. But somehow, that felt better than being ignored by people who did. I thought of the kids. The way their eyes lit up when I made pancakes. The way the little one held my hand. Without thinking. I missed them. I really did. But missing someone doesn't mean you belong where they are. That was the lesson no one tells you. Belonging isn't about history. It's about permission. And mine had been silently revoked. I didn't cry. That surprised me. But there was a stillness now. Like after a long storm. When the windows stop rattling. And you can hear your own breath again. I wrote a message. Just one. To her. I'm okay. Just needed some space. Take care of the kids. Tell them I love them. Then I deleted it. Didn't send it. Not because I didn't mean it, but because sometimes silence is stronger. I let the screen fade to black. Put the phone face down. I made tea with the little motel kettle. It tasted like plastic and dust. But it was hot. And in that moment, that was enough. Evening came. Lights in the parking lot flickered on. Someone slammed a car door. The couple in the room next to mine laughed through the wall. And I sat in the middle of that nothing. And it didn't feel like failure. It felt like a beginning. Not dramatic. Not brave. Just mine. I didn't go back. Not the next day. Not the day after. Not when the kids' birthdays came and went. Not even when I saw the photos they eventually posted. Smiling. Together. Complete. Without me. And maybe they were. Maybe that was enough for them. But for me, I needed more than being the invisible part of someone else's perfect picture. So I stayed. I found a room in a small town. Just far enough to not run into anyone accidentally, but close enough to send a card if I ever wanted to. The apartment was small, but it was mine. A chair by the window, a tiny kitchen with exactly one good pan, and a bookshelf that started empty and slowly filled, not with memories, with choices. I bought curtains, yellow ones, not because they matched anything, but because they reminded me of light. I planted herbs in the windowsill, basil, mint, and something else I never quite identified. But it grew anyway. I learned the rhythm of my own silence. No footsteps upstairs. No schedules that weren't mine. No questions that felt like corrections. Just air. And peace. One day, I walked past a thrift store. In the window, I saw a frame. Wooden. Slightly scratched. $2. I bought it. Came home. And for the first time in months, I printed a photo. Not of them. Not of birthdays. Not of anyone else's version of family. Just me. At Maggie's. Smiling. Fork in hand. Half a pie on the plate. Sunlight across my shoulder. I put it in the frame. Set it on the shelf. And stared at it. Not to admire it, but to remember that even after everything, I was still here. Not erased. Not replaced. Not forgotten. Just found. Drop it in the comments. Hit subscribe. This is where we talk about what doesn't get forgiven.